that's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
And I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
So Israel Majimov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson spoke about his session with Terence Crawford and stressed how important it is to stay calm before a big fight with Canelo. He said fighters always deal with heavy pressure on nights like this, but the real test is in the mind. Tyson believes that if Terence keeps his focus and doesn't let the moment shake him, he can fight at his highest level and make the win look simple.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody think pressure's like getting on stage. No, pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
it's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, an experienced boxer who has fought Canelo Alvarez himself, spoke about the scale of a possible fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford. He praised Canelo for his experience and class, but also noted that Crawford has serious punching power. With Crawford moving up in weight and settling into the division, Khan feels he is stronger than ever. He made it clear this would not be a one-sided fight since both men have unique skills to offer. For Khan, this matchup is bigger than just another bout. It is two elite fighters meeting in the ring, each able to change everything with a single shot. While he respects Canelo's dominance at higher weights, he also warned that Crawford's ability to adjust and rise to challenges makes the outcome very difficult to call.
That's a Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot,
You're not catching the shoot.
Make me think.
You're not catching the shoot.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, "Your legs kind of tight." He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It was a habit problem.
He said, "All right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round." And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah. So to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
off the round.
Whatever. Hell up.
I don't even know what round it is. Chill out.
You don't even know what round it is. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast the week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford. Takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff.
Analysts have raised concerns about Crawford's age and limited experience at higher weight classes. By the time this fight could happen, he will be 38, an age where natural decline affects every fighter. Although he moved up to 154 pounds to face Israel Majimov, many still doubt if that one fight proves he can handle someone as established in bigger divisions as Canelo. In boxing, age impacts speed, reflexes, and recovery, all of which matter against a relentless opponent. Experts agree Crawford's skills are still sharp, but his body may not react the way it once did. They see this matchup as the toughest challenge of his career, not only in terms of skill but also physically and mentally because of the level of competition and the stakes involved.
September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Majimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Majimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Majimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his team have been clear about their preparation for Canelo. They point out that their main goal is to avoid the mistakes Jermall Charlo made when he was outclassed by Canelo. Crawford has stressed that he is not Charlo and that his style, discipline, and fight intelligence make him different. His team has focused on a game plan built around movement, accuracy, and smart pacing. They know raw power alone won't be enough, so the strategy is to frustrate Canelo with strong defense and create openings for counters. Training has been intense, with tough conditioning and sparring meant to replicate Canelo's strength and pressure in the ring.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermall Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermall Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's
Experts and analysts have highlighted the risks that come with moving up in weight classes, noting that speed and agility often take a hit. Terence Crawford, now stepping into heavier territory, has drawn attention after photos surfaced showing him looking noticeably bigger. Analysts warn that pictures can be deceptive because of angles and lighting, but the concern is still there. At his age, and with the added weight, can Crawford keep the speed that has always set him apart? Extra muscle brings more power, but it can also reduce stamina and limit flexibility.
I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168-pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Bud Crawford with him looking absolutely massive. But I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Bud Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course, Terence Bud Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Bud Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Abel Sanchez, a highly respected boxing trainer, has downplayed Crawford's chances against Canelo. He compared the fight to more of a sparring session than a real contest, saying Crawford is simply too small to compete with Alvarez. His view reflects a common belief that Canelo's natural size, power, and experience in bigger divisions give him a clear advantage. Sanchez acknowledged Crawford's talent, but stressed that skill alone cannot overcome the physical realities of the sport.
Quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri sees the fight from another angle, pushing back against the hype around it. While many fans and promoters have labeled it one of the biggest matchups in boxing history, he disagrees. Algieri admits it is an exciting bout, but insists it falls short of the all-time greats, which featured fighters meeting in their prime on equal terms. He cautions that people may be exaggerating the drama, since Crawford is moving into new territory against a champion who has already proven himself at higher divisions.
Because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see. And a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, you know, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
He didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
what's up with that bullpen? Yeah, all right, I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like, you said there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like, I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it, too.
Yeah. Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year, to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
Boxing analyst Showbiz, the adult points to the clear gap in the level of opposition both fighters have faced. He argues that none of Crawford's past opponents could realistically match the caliber of fighters Canelo has gone up against. This underlines the difference in their resumes. Canelo has repeatedly taken on and often beaten champions across several weight classes. Crawford, while undefeated, has not faced that same level of established threats. Critics of Canelo have accused him of avoiding the toughest challenges by selecting more favorable matchups, but his supporters push back, noting that nearly all of his opponents have been proven champions and respected fighters. Looking at the record side by side, Canelo has had the tougher road, consistently facing elite competition in multiple divisions, while Crawford's spotless record lacks names of that same stature.
Name the fighters Crawford fought who would beat Triple G. That Spence that Crawford fought, that Kell Brook that Crawford fought, that Sean Porter that Crawford fought, would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those 5, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.
Reports and training clips show how dedicated Crawford has been in preparing for this fight. His regimen includes strength work, hard sparring, and conditioning drills to build endurance. He has also been testing new methods to get ready for the heavier punches and longer exchanges he expects against Canelo. The focus isn't just on physical preparation but also on mental strength, with his camp emphasizing discipline and calm under pressure. The central question is how Crawford will handle Canelo's relentless style. Crawford's defense and movement are excellent, but Canelo has made a career out of patiently waiting for the right moment to strike. Against Errol Spence, Crawford was dominant, but Spence lacked the size, power, and tactical patience that Alvarez brings.
Usually breaks them down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he's perfected at rolling with the punch thing. He's been rolling with punches like just to take off the steam off.
Former world champion Kell Brook gives a clear explanation of why he favors Canelo in this fight. He acknowledges Crawford's impressive win over Errol Spence, but points out that Spence is not on Canelo's level. The Mexican star combines power, experience, and tactical control in a way Crawford has never faced before. Canelo has consistently proven himself in higher weight classes against bigger and stronger opponents. Brook believes that while Crawford's technical ability is world-class, it won't fully prepare him for Canelo's ring intelligence. He sees this fight as possibly the toughest of Crawford's career, since he has never gone up against such a complete fighter with so many advantages in size, strength, and strategy.
Towards Canelo, Crawford's gonna have to, move up, and I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion's okay, but when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but Crawford's very, very, very good.
You think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe outmoving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. He's more, he kind of sets his feet. He's cute with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned and catch you next time.